Good afternoon, Brazos County. I'm Wanda Watson, candidate for Brazos County Commissioner Precinct 4, and I am delighted to come and speak to you this afternoon about some of the issues that you have expressed to me that are important to you. But before I do, I want to tell you a little bit about myself and why I decided to run for County Commissioner. I grew up in Midland, Texas. I'll start with a little bit about myself. I grew up in Midland, Texas, graduated from Midland High School, attended UT Arlington. I have an undergraduate degree in accounting from UT Arlington, and then I acquired a master's degree from Texas A&M in higher ed administration with a concentration in counseling. When I started at Texas A&M, I actually was in finance and budgets, a la my accounting degree, but once I moved over to academic affairs, I wanted to be higher ed administration and working with students. The concentration in counseling became an important part of my educational experience. I continued on with that part of my career when I worked in general studies as an advisor, and then I moved over to the College of Medicine, where I worked in admissions as a part of the admissions team and doing recruiting and working with special programs. Through my professional career, particularly at my 32 years at Texas A&M, my interest in service to all and others, it had manifested itself, and so as I have moved forward to involve myself in the political arena, it has continued on for service. So in 2019, when the Democratic Party chair decided that she was not going to run for another term, I started my elected official career, because the county chair is an elected position. And I started that career shadowing her to learn what a Democratic Party county chair did. I actually was elected in 2020 or early 2020, but because of COVID, I wasn't officially installed until August of 2020. Through that part, through the Democratic Party, I was able to go in and we started to refresh our infrastructure of the office. We also were able to build up our finances such that we were able to have an active Democratic Party office. During all of that time, the current commissioner in Precinct 4 decided that she also was going to retire. And so I thought, well, why not do that? Partly because, just like some of the survey questions, I was starting to get questions and queries from the citizenry about issues of concern. It is important, as a part of my platform, I recognize that elected officials are elected to be the voice, so that residents, I'm going to change glasses here, so that residents of the county have a resource to go to with issues that they have for concern. It is important, I believe, that we have an informed citizenry so that they know that their government, whether it's local government, whether it's city council, whether it's county commissioners, whatever the entity is that the citizens pay taxes into and rely on, that they know that it is a resource and that they are informed about what can and cannot be done, and that they have a voice. And so as a candidate for county commissioner, within the scope of what the commissioner's role is, I will attempt to serve the county. I will attempt to also be a voice. Sometimes I will get queries about issues of concern that are not within the scope of what a commissioner does, but I will be able to do the research and get back to you as best I can. I acknowledge that I will not always be able to resolve some of your issues, but it does not mean that I won't attempt to address them or inform you within the scope of the job what I can and cannot do. Having said that, with the survey, it was interesting what some of your issues and concerns were. I noted that jobs were very important. I do note also that as I go through a fact-finding tour, I have been attending a number of community meetings, from the Brazos Valley Council of Governments to the multiple commissioners' courts, online to the both city councils, trying to understand how to connect the dots, because all of those agencies and governmental offices are connected in some way. Texas A&M is also a part of that, in that they also have what they call a public-private partnership. A public-private partnership that will engage so that with the Brazos County getting bigger, it's a vibrant community right now. Some of the good things that are happening are not always trickling down to, say, Precinct 4, which is what I'm running for. And so I want to be a part of that, address some of those issues, and certainly be a voice when funding opportunities come. I want to be able to bring Precinct 4 to the table and do as much as I possibly can to help them get access to some of the resources or address some of the issues that are impacting them directly. Voting rights was also an issue that came up, and as some of you know, living in Brazos County, in Precinct 4 in particular, we had an issue with polling sites. One in particular was Galilee. Galilee historically has been closed on Election Day. It was open for early voting, but it was not open. I believe that the interest in the commissioners for office and the Justice of the Peace office drove the interest for Precinct 4, and that's why there was some concerns about the fact that a number of people showed up to vote at Galilee, but it was not open. Having gone to the council, having had it addressed through the Commissioner's Court, because the Commissioner's Court approves the list of polling sites. The election administrator submits the information to the both Democratic and Republican Party county chairs for them to get workers for those polling sites, and then it is approved by the Commissioner's Court. With the concerns of what happened during the runoff, runoffs, like I said, are low voter turnout elections. That is partly why it was not open. It will now be a runoff polling site for future elections, so that will not be a matter of concern. Voting rights, that is dictated all the way from the national level down to the state level in terms of our state government, the governor, and all of those folks. That's why, again, your voice does matter. But the governor and the Republican, the Texas legislature dictate what the rules are to vote. And then any restrictions and any concerns that you have about access to the polling sites is dictated at the state level, and who you have in office, from Secretary of State to Attorney General. And so those offices will actually be on the ballot for the November 8th election. And so I will encourage you just to sort of, there'll be the governor at the top, and then down at the bottom it will be offices like the county commissioner and the justice of the peace, the Bryan and College Station City Council, in addition to the school boards, will be on the November ballot. So it is important that you inform yourself, that you're able to look at, you can access from my website, WandaWatson.com. If you have any concerns and questions about how to vote, where to vote, how to register to vote, whatever your issues are as it relates to voting in Brazos County, go to WandaWatson.com, and you'll be able to click on my website and click on the different links that will help and keep you informed. And as the county election office is updating that information, it will keep you informed. So again, WandaWatson.com as it relates to the current policies and processes for voting. One of the other things I now have on my website is for those of you who've not voted in Brazos County and you've never used our election, where you go and vote, the polling booths, you can actually look at the tutorial that is on there, and it will give you directions on instructions and training on how to vote, how to use the polling sites when you go to the polling sites. It will also list the different polling sites. One of the things that we do have in place in Texas is that you can vote at any polling site. You can go in, there will be 20 for November election. There will be 26 sites. So if it's not one close to your house, but it's close to where you work or you're out shopping, if you can Google it, everything now is online. You can go out there and find out what's the closest polling site to me. You can also go out there, and when they eventually post the ballot, the sample ballot, It will show you the ballot, and it will list all of the candidates from the governor all the way down to, again, the local elections, justice of the peace, commissioner 4, all the commissioners. There are 2 commissioners seat up for election this time. Some of the other things that are being discussed that are not necessarily within the scope of the commissioner, but there are those of you who are concerned about women's rights. From a personal perspective, I am too. I won't get into the details of my perspective on that. That's just not what that is for. Let me see. Roe v. Wade is a big issue. Again, as a Democrat, that pretty much says where I stand. So I appreciate that. I see some of you guys are clicking in and saying hello. I will say hello to Terrence. I will say hello to Eric. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments, and I'll be glad to respond to your comments or your questions. Other issues of concern, property taxes. Again, that is a dual role. The school board, the cities, both city governments, and the commissioners court play a role in the designation of taxes. I am not far enough within my training as a candidate for commissioner to be able to address that effectively, so I won't ramble on about property taxes. I'm a taxpayer also here in Brazos County. I recognize that some folks are, my personal opinion, this has nothing to do with commissioner, my personal opinion is, while I don't have a child who is now currently enrolled in BISD, I live in Bryan. I want an educated populace, so on some level I don't mind paying school taxes, even though, like I said, my daughter's been out of school since 2001. She's been out for a while, so I don't have a child in the school district, but I'm willing to pay the taxes. Another issue of concern for me that sort of manifested itself during COVID was broadband. As we all know, there's an inequity in terms of access to internet, Wi-Fi, and so part of it is that depending on how far out where you live, whether or not you can access broadband, or you have good broadband. Yeah. Whether you have good broadband, and so know that it is being discussed by the commissioners court. I was at the, as I said, the Council of Government meeting. They had their board meeting, and so I sat in as an observer of what they were talking about. It came up during that, and so it is being addressed. There may be some funding. Again, I don't have that information, so I won't expound on it much. But there is information out there that's talking about bringing or expanding broadband for Brazos County. There is a federal program that if you cannot afford it, that there will be some funding. I think about $30 a month. Again, I don't have the specific information, so I don't want to give you wrong information. As I get more information on that, it will be on my website. Again, I'm learning to promote it, wandawatson.com. You'll be able to go out there, and as we address each one of those issues, and I'll periodically have a what's happening today or what information do I have, and it'll be posted to my website. Again, election integrity, all of the things that they're talking about. There's some school board issues on here, again, that are not a part of or within the scope. As a citizen who worked in higher education, believe that education is important. Here, but know that I am in support of public schools. My daughter went through public school, BISD K through 12, and attended Texas A&M University. So I am absolutely in favor of public school. If you personally or have a different perspective, I respect that. In terms of one of the questions was, I don't know the issue about how Brazos County or Bryan College Station is faring related to the teacher shortage. I know that they've had their convocations getting ready for the teachers. Again, that's not within the scope of what I will do as commissioner. I am a concerned citizen, so I do interact I'm actually, speaking of which, as I say, I'm a concerned citizen. I am actually a member of the Bryan ISD Education Foundation Board, and we're actually going to have a banquet this afternoon to honor some BISD, Bryan Independent School District, accomplished or distinguished graduates. So again, as a part of my heart, as a part of being a citizen of Bryan College Station, Bryan in particular, I strive to be involved and be aware of what is happening in my community, because I value all, and as they talk about the well-being of the community, I also believe fundamentally that the foundation of the education of our children is an important part of that, and that is why I also was delighted that I was invited to join the board of the foundation, because they give out scholarships to all of the kids, students who graduate from Bryan High and Rudder High, and so I'm very proud to be a part of that. And so that's why I'm a part of that board, and I'm delighted to have an opportunity tonight to be a part of that organization, recognizing previous graduates from BISD. So hope some of y'all will be attending, and to give some attaboys and attagirls to those graduates who are very accomplished, and I am in support of anything that we can do to do that for our students. So that's one of the issues. Mental health and access to health. I attended a meeting here earlier this week with the Brazos County Health District. They did a presentation on COVID, and unfortunately, they noted that there were at least 2 people in Brazos County who have monkeypox. And some of the questions were about whether or not, the health department does COVID testing, because of, again, legislative rules that the health district has no control over. That is not a function right now. They do other kinds of testing. If you have a child that needs vaccinations for enrollment in school and other kinds of health issues, I encourage you to go out and look at their website and see what services that they offer. It is part of the county. So the Commissioner's Court does fund part of that, in addition to both cities. So go out there and look at what is available, guys. You can pretty much Google anything, and pretty much all of these agencies have a website. They have a page. They have something that will let you know what services they offer. You can also call them, let them know what your issues are, and they hopefully will be able to direct you where you need to go. So again, the resources are there. They may not be able to cover everything that you need, but they have some of what you need. But my concern has been access to health care. Having worked at the College of Medicine, just being a citizen who needs health care, I see the disparity in health care. I recognize that I'm very fortunate. I have good health care, but I know that there are those who do not have good health care. So be aware. Just be aware of whether the resources are out there. Call the people. And I hear the frustration sometimes. When I was out block walking as a candidate, I would hear the anguish and the frustration and the concern that my vote doesn't count. But it does. It does make a difference. I'm an example of that. But who you elect from city council, who's on the city council, determines whether or not your streets get paved, whether you have a sidewalk, whether your voices are heard. But you have to vote, and you have to hold your elected officials accountable for the decisions that they make that may not trickle down or trickle over to what your issues are. We've seen that happen a lot. Some decisions and votes that are taken really don't have a direct impact on us regular citizens, our day-to-day lives. So think about, we got several city council positions on the ballot. Bryan, I think, has 5 seats, including the mayor. Same thing with Commissioner Court. There are 2 seats. The seat I'm running for in Precinct 4 and Precinct 2. Who you vote for determines what decisions will be made on your behalf. So, guys, please go out. Number 1, if you're not registered, get registered to vote. Number 2, then once you're registered, you've got to turn up and vote, because they're going to be the Bryan City Council, College Station City Council, Bryan School Board, College Station School Board, and then the Commissioner's Court. And then, of course, all of the the elected official, from the governor all the way down the ballot. County commissioner, we have a local candidate who is running for comptroller, Janet Dudding, good Democrat. So again, inform yourself, look at who the candidates are, and look at who they're running against, and whether or not you support the issues that they voted for. All right, so I got my cheat sheet here, so that's why I'm looking down, guys. Again, I've talked about how important it is that you be an informed voter, that you take the time, and if you can, I know that, for example, County Commissioners Court meets at 10 o'clock on Tuesdays. When I was working, unless I had a moment at my computer in my office to sit and stream a governmental meeting, it is difficult now for those of us, a lot of folks who work 8 to 5 or shift work, to sit and watch a video or stream meeting of commissioners. Same thing with the city council. But I know, for example, the county commissioner also has a YouTube page. Again, you can look on my website, wandawatson.com, and it will give you that information on how you can click on the link to see the commissioner's court. And I am owning that I'm going to be commissioner for Precinct 4. You'll get to see what the impact that I'm trying to have as the lone Democrat on the Brazos County Commissioner's Court. I will be that voice, and I will fight for you. Same thing with the city council. I'm not sure whether, I don't know that Brian does their meeting in real time. I think College Station does. I haven't checked that out. I've always been there in person. I know it's difficult, but you can go out there and see the kinds of information that they're talking about. Because what you don't want to do is have those governmental entities making decisions that impact your lives, but you weren't aware of them until they literally broke ground on some project that you may or may not object to. So keep yourself informed. Know that, just like I'm doing this video live, this is a first for me, that you can do the same thing with the different governmental entities. They stream their regular meetings either through YouTube, Facebook Live, or whatever. One of the other things is Brazos County in Precinct 4 is a very diverse county. It is heavily Hispanic and African American, and so it is concerning that I know that I want to represent everyone in Precinct 4. I am not a single community representative. I want to be able to do that, and so I want to be able to address the needs, but I won't always know what the needs are, say in the Latino community, or I have some idea in the African American community because I live in Bryan myself, and so I am somewhat aware, but I want to be able to, I can't see that. I want to be able to, I'm sorry, I have my production team. Anyway, so I understand that I want to be able to work with the Latino community. When I worked at Texas A&M University, I was an equal opportunity mentor to all, particularly my students of color, which included the Latino community, Latino students, and the African American students. And so the difference in me and, say, my opponent, who is actually a Republican, will be that I will be a voice, I will be visible, I will do everything that I can to hear your voices. I at one point talked about how I could access, have town halls, because so very often people will say to me, I didn't know that. How do I know that? How do I know where I can go? And so I've explored newsletters, where I actually mail newsletters to your community, where I do mail community town halls. I look around to the different voting precincts, and I look and see what facility there would be where I say on a Tuesday or Thursday night, not Wednesday night, because I know most black churches have Bible study, that I could do and go and do a town hall. If I do a town hall, will you show up? Will you come out and let me hear from you? and then I can speak to you about what is currently happening on the Commissioner's Court, what I'm aware of as the different governmental entities are working together on projects that will benefit the whole community. So I'm trying to find active ways to do that. As I said, I have a survey, there's a survey on my website. There's a way for you, if you want me to have access to your information so that I can either email you, text you information about what's going on. You can go again to wandawatson.com. There's a way for me to, I can hear from you, and you will be able to tell me what you want to do.
Answer some questions.
I'm sorry?
Get the questions.
Okay. Let's see. Have another question. Again, I've talked about the black and brown community, that I will be a voice to that community, but I need to also hear from you, because I may be addressing an issue that I think is important to you, but you have a different issue, and so I'll need to be able to address those issues as you bring them up to me. Again, it may not be something within the scope of what a commissioner does, but I will be willing to go out there and do the research, find out what governmental entity can address that issue, bring it forward, address it for you, and say, okay, as a concerned citizen, I think this is very important. I hadn't thought about it, but a citizen brought the issue to me, and as it relates to their community, how is the city, how is the county, how is the school board, or whatever the case, how are they going to address that issue? If nothing else, just be a voice to say to those individuals who run those agencies, this is what I'm hearing and these are what the concerns are. And if you want me to give your information to them for them to address you directly, I can do that. But I need to hear from you. And I will be out there, I will block walk, I will be in your neighborhood. When I'm elected, like I said, I'll be willing to go to any community event you want me to appear, and so that we can have a true conversation. We can have a sit down and address what your concerns are. So, again, I've seen some of y'all drop some questions in there. Sherry Williams, hi. Haven't heard from you in a long time. Fran Lamb, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that, as I'm talking to you, that this is, that you're getting some good information. You can see I'm kind of rambling on, but that you're getting some good information, that you're getting to have some idea about what's happening. And where I'm coming from, and of course, as I get better at this, as I continue my fact-finding tour, as I do my listening tour, we're going to all of these different community meetings. I have found them extremely informative. There will need to be a deep dive, certainly as I go forward in terms of what different organizations will do. But I will be hosting these each month. So again, go to my website. I have a Facebook page, Wanda Watson for Brazos County Commissioner Precinct 4. So like my page. Again, social media has become such an important part of a candidate's connection to the community. Nearly everybody's on Facebook. So thank you so much for tuning in. I see one of my former med students is listening in. Gosh golly, and she lives all the way out in California. So hi, Evie. So glad you could tune in. I'm excited to be doing this. As I get further into being county commissioner, I am wanting to work. So I saw somebody asking about sidewalks, detention pools, preventing flooding in certain communities. Certainly, those are issues that will be impacted. I know the commissioner will control or have some impact. Those are on my, how do we fix this list? So know that I'm aware of all of those kinds of issues that I saw pop up. So know that I know, but I'm running to be that person to try to get those issues resolved for you, and they do come within the scope of the county commissioner's court, and so like I said, they're on my to-do list. So again, guys, thank you. I appreciate y'all being here, listening to me. Tune in again. I will, as first time out, I'm sure I'll get better at this, but know that my passion is, my heart is to serve Precinct 4, to serve everyone in Precinct 4. Know that I am accessible, and that you can, like I said, check out my website, contact me through the website. And again, thank you all for tuning in. Thank those of you who who gave me some comments and some questions and some ideas, but know that some of the things you asked me about are on my list, and I'll be there to address them as best I can. So again, have a great rest of your evening. This is Wanda Watson, candidate for Brazos County Commissioner, Precinct 4. Thank you so much for listening in, and I appreciate any feedback you're willing to give to this. Have a great evening. Good night. Quick hands.